Sometimes, the truth doesn't shout. It whispers, right when you least expect it. In the quiet of our kitchen, bathed only in the glow of my phone, I saw it. Just a few words from a number I didn't recognize. And in that moment, the silence became deafening. The message was simple: we need to talk. It's important, but the feeling it left behind was anything but. Mark and I had built a life on simple things. The shared smiles over morning coffee, the way our hands fit together perfectly while assembling a bookshelf, the comfortable silence as we watched old movies. Our world was small, but it was ours. It was safe. Or so I thought. Lately, though, a crack had appeared in our perfect little world. It started small. A phone call he'd hurried to take in another room. A nervous twitch when I glanced at his phone screen. He was here, beside me, but his mind seemed miles away, lost in a place I couldn't reach. He started guarding his phone like it was a state secret, angling it away from me, his fingers quick to swipe away notifications. When I asked who called, the answers were always vague. Just work. A wrong number. Spam. But his eyes told a different story. They were distant, clouded with a worry he refused to share. The love was still there, in the way he'd kissed my forehead before leaving for work, but it was accompanied by a new tension, a quiet strain that hummed just beneath the surface of our everyday life. He was building a wall, brick by silent brick, and I was on the outside, wondering what he was so desperately trying to protect or hide. That late-night message wasn't a smoking gun. It wasn't angry or accusatory. It was just insistent. We need to talk. It's important. And my intuition screamed that this was it. This was the key to the wall Mark was building. I could have confronted him right then and there. I could have demanded an explanation, let my fear and suspicion boil over into a fight. But that wasn't what I wanted. I didn't want a confession born from anger. I wanted to understand. So, I decided to find the truth on my own terms. My investigation began not with accusations, but with quiet observation. The first clue was almost nothing. A crumpled receipt I found while doing laundry, from a coffee shop on the other side of town, a place we never went. The timestamp was from an afternoon he'd told me he was stuck in a long meeting at work. A small lie, but it felt like a loose thread on a perfectly woven sweater. I pulled, gently. A few days later, while tidying his desk, I saw his planner open. He was meticulous, every meeting and deadline marked in his neat handwriting. But there was one entry that stood out. A recurring appointment, every Thursday afternoon, simply labeled meeting. No location, no details. It was a blank space in the story of his life, a chapter he was keeping hidden from me. I traced the letters with my finger, the secrecy feeling cold to the touch. The most jarring discovery came from a glitch. His phone, left face up on the counter for just a second, lit up with a notification. It was a deleted message being recovered from his cloud backup. I only saw a fragment before it vanished. Can't keep hiding this from her. It's not fair to Lily. The words hit me like a physical blow. Hiding what? Who was he talking to? My mind raced, painting 1,000 different scenarios, each one more painful than the last. The what if was a poison, slowly seeping into the foundations of our relationship. Every clue was a small, sharp piece of a puzzle I couldn't yet see, and the picture my fear was starting to create was one of betrayal. I knew I couldn't live with the shadows anymore. I had to see the full picture, no matter how much it might hurt. The following Thursday, I decided to follow him. My heart pounded in my chest as I drove, keeping a safe distance, feeling like a spy in my own life. I expected the worst. A quiet bar, another person's apartment. My imagination had already written a script full of heartbreak. But he didn't go to any of those places. Instead, he pulled into the parking lot of a local community center. A place for after-school programs and pottery classes. It made no sense. I waited a few minutes, my confusion overriding my fear, then slipped out of my car and went inside. The hallway was quiet, decorated with children's artwork. I followed the low murmur of voices down the hall until I found the source, a small meeting room at the very end. The door was slightly ajar. I peered through the crack, my breath caught in my throat. And there he was, Mark. He was standing at the front of a circle of chairs, speaking to a small group of people. His voice was shaky, vulnerable in a way I'd never heard before. He wasn't meeting a lover. He was talking about the immense pressure he felt after his father's business had collapsed months ago, a secret he'd carried alone. He spoke of the sleepless nights, the fear of failing me, of losing everything his father had built. He was afraid I would see him as less of a man, as a failure. He wasn't hiding an affair. He was hiding his shame. Tears streamed down my face as I listened. Tears of relief, of sadness for his lonely struggle, of guilt for my own suspicions. All the missed calls, the vague excuses, the secret meetings, they were his attempts to find support, to find a way to tell me the truth without feeling like he was letting me down. He was in a support group for people dealing with family financial stress. He was trying to heal, but he was doing it alone because he was trying to protect me. I pushed the door open and stepped inside. The room fell silent. Mark's eyes widened in shock as he saw me standing there. All the air left his lungs. I slowly walked toward him, my own phone in my hand. I held it up, the screen showing that one single message that had started it all. "We need to talk. It's important." My voice was barely a whisper. "Why didn't you just tell me?" He looked from the phone to my face, his expression a mixture of surprise and profound relief. I didn't know how," he stammered. I was so ashamed. He took a deep breath and then revealed the final piece of the puzzle. "That message, it's from my sister. She's been telling me for weeks that I needed to talk to you, that the secrecy was going to destroy us." The wall he had built didn't just crumble, it evaporated. In its place was the raw, honest truth. It wasn't the ugly truth I had feared, but a beautiful, fragile one about human vulnerability. I stepped closer and took his hand. A small smile touched my lips. "Next time," I said softly, "talk to me before your fears write the story." He squeezed my hand, a silent promise passing between us. We walked out of the community center and into the afternoon sun together. The tension was gone, replaced by a new, more profound understanding. We still had challenges ahead, but now we would face them as one. We were finally on the same page and the same story, ready to write the next chapter together. Thank you for watching. If you've ever felt alone in a struggle, please remember that reaching out is a sign of strength, not weakness. Talking to a loved one, a friend, or a professional can make all the difference. Take care of each other, and we'll see you in the next video.